probably the average reader sees editor and they're like, oh, you're just proofreading. You're making sure there's no spelling mistakes.
It's funny because I don't do that at all. Right. And I feel like, I mean, I can, but like I'm so bad at that. And like, so we have a separate like proofreader who will go through and do all of that. And I'm sure she hates me because she's like, why isn't there a period here? And I'm like, I don't know. The page looks good though.
Awesome. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's been a while. It's so good to be doing this again. Welcome back to a new episode of Comic Shop Talk. I'm here with Miss Riley Farmer. Hello. We've been trying to put this thing
for a very long time. Yes.
Over a year.
Yeah.
Over a year, which is nuts. But it's so exciting to finally be doing this. I feel like we've been talking about your job for like 2 or 3 years now, and every time we talk about it, I think it'd be so fascinating to do an episode on it. But you are an editor at IDW, and you were Mrs. Hendricks' second grade class best hair winner 2005.
I was
as well.
I have a bad haircut right now, but I still think I do a good honor.
Yeah. No, and you edited for a bunch of stuff. So you were on Sonic the Hedgehog, Transformers, Star Wars Adventures, My Little Pony. You launched Monster High and American Girl, and one of the short stories in your My Little Pony 40th anniversary special, Friendship is Forever, was Eisner nominated for best short story. You are super acclaimed, and right now you're launching Sleepy Hollow, which you can pre-order now. You can get it at Memory Lane Comics. We're going to be getting a ton of copies, so definitely check it out. They have a bunch of really cool horror comics lined up. I think they're calling it IDW Dark. Looks super sweet. But yeah, I think your job, you as an editor, gets kind of overlooked a lot by just the average reader. People see writer and the artist and they think that's kind of all that goes into creating a comic, but they don't think of like pencilers, inkers, letterers, colorists, and you are kind of behind all of that. You bring all these people together. So for those who don't know, could you give us a little rundown on your job, your role?
Yeah. I think editors are especially important in licensed comics because people can't come to us with ideas for licensed comics. So we're often having to go to a writer and say, hey, can you pitch us something, and we may have some parameters for them. We may have some ideas for them based on like what we've discussed with the licensor. I always like to describe it as like a project manager because, like I said, we're hiring everybody from the writer to the letterer sometimes. So everybody involved in the process, and then we're managing their schedules, giving that to them, checking in on them weekly, making sure that they're doing okay, like as far as deadlines, but also like sometimes mentally, like having to be like a little therapist sometimes. So it's a bunch of different roles wrapped up in one. I like to say that my job is answering emails mostly though, because I'm just always bugging people or always trying to be like, if a writer's stuck on a script, they'll email me and be like, what about this issue? And I'm like, well, this and this and this. So it's a lot of email answering. But yeah, and then so I'm hiring everybody, and then when things come in, I'm then like giving notes, whether that's like art notes, making sure like things are reading correctly on the page, making sure things are on model for licensed stuff, making sure the script makes sense and it's a good number 1 or it's a good like number 5 if we're wrapping up an arc and things like that. So it's a lot of different things, but yeah, it's for licensed comics especially, it matters a lot because you're building a whole line and you need to have someone kind of overseeing that and all steps of the process to make sure that it's cohesive.
Yeah, I think probably the average reader sees editor and they're like, oh, you're just proofreading. You're making sure there's no spelling mistakes.
It's funny because I don't do that at all. Right. And I feel like, I mean, I can, but like I'm so bad at that. And like, so we have a separate like proofreader who will go through and do all of that. And I'm sure she hates me because she's like, why isn't there a period here? And I'm like, I don't know. The page looks good though.
I don't know. It's dealing with their family drama.
Exactly.
Yeah. My gosh. That's a lot. But yeah, so you're in charge of assembling the creative team. When you're considering who to tap for certain roles, who to work with, do you have a list of creators that work with IDW, or have you ever come up on any like fan artists, writers that?
Yeah, I have a very, very extensive Excel sheet or Google sheet that has like every artist I've ever worked with, like their portfolio website, their email. And then I also keep a list, like if I just run across people on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, like I will often put them in there because a lot of times, like, I love their art so much and I know that they would do such a good job, but I don't have a job for them. So like I think I ran across a cover artist or just an artist who did posters when I was working on like Sonic and My Little Pony, and I love her art so much, but My Little Pony wasn't going to be a good fit for her. But when I started working on Sleepy Hollow, I was like, I have to hire this person. And so I hired them to do 5 covers for me, and that was her first comic work. So she's done a bunch of other work, but that was like her first comic work, and now she's like really into it, and everybody was like, oh my god, like I'm going to steal this artist. So yeah, I keep a very extensive spreadsheet, and yes, fan art is so important for my job because, especially like working on Sonic all the time, like me and David Marriott, who was editing it with me, we would like see cool Sonic fan art online and be like, oh, like this person is really good, like we could get them on model enough to, you know, get approved by the licensor for this book. So that's always something I'm looking for. Also too, like it's funny with writers, we would always like, if a writer ever like tweeted about Sonic, we'd be like, well, now we have to hire them because like that shows us you're interested and you have some knowledge for this like for this fan base that like would probably make you a good writer. So yeah, I always have a list of artists and writers, and anytime I'm starting a new project, I pretty much go through that spreadsheet and pull like a long list of people that I think would be good, whether it's their style would fit, I know they're available, I know that it would be a good like direct market name for this book or whatever, and then kind of shorten it down from there. And I'm always asking to like my coworkers or like colleagues in the industry too, like if they have any recommendations, if I'm having trouble finding someone. So yeah, there's a ton of different ways I can assemble a team and find artists, but that's, yeah.
And you mentioned earlier, like, giving people notes and being on model, especially for books like Sonic and My Little Pony. I think mostly Sonic, they're pretty strict on how he's supposed to look. But do you find it easier to give those notes to seasoned, established creators, or the green, like, new people that you pull from fan art?
It honestly depends on the person. Like, I work with a lot of new artists, and a lot of times I feel like I have to deliver notes in a certain way because this is often the first time they're receiving notes of this caliber. So I have to be sensitive about it, and I also have to be really specific. Like, I can't just say, like, hey, can you make this stand out more? Like, I have to say, like, oh, can you up the contrast of this by, like, 50% or something like that? And that helps them then learn, like, the cadence of how we give notes and how to implement a note. But sometimes, like, if I'm giving an art note on a cover and I just like, hey, can you make this stand out more? Like, a seasoned artist might be like, yeah, no problem, and could turn it around in like 30 minutes, right? But then also sometimes seasoned artists, I don't know, it's interesting, especially with writers and stuff. I'm like, I can't give you notes. Like, you're, you know, this person, you're so like experienced and like I've only been doing this for 6 years. So I have to overcome that because it's my job.
Right.
But yeah, it is interesting. And then, you know, occasionally with both, you'll get notes or you'll get feedback that's like, I'm not making that change. And I'm like, okay, you have to. I'm sorry. Like, if you don't make it, we're going to have somebody else make it. So
I was about to ask if you've ever run into any creators that is like, no, I'm not. Like,
Yeah, I've run into that a few times, and it's either been like we've had a talk and been like, hey, understand your frustration or your unwillingness, and either talk through it or, you know, come up with a different solution. But there have been a few times where we've had to hire outside artists to go on these people's pages or covers or whatever for them to fix it because they were unwilling. How
do the credits work for something like that then? Do you give a credit to the artist that edited it?
I think we would say like art assists on it or something like that. Wow. We try to be, you know, subtle about it.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for
That's not what that credit always means, but right. No, that is, I don't know.
Wow, holy cow, fascinating. And you mentioned a lot of your job is like responding to emails, so you work mostly remotely. You don't get to meet a lot of the creators that you work with. Like I know you worked with Tony Fleeks for a while on My Little Pony, I think, right?
Yeah, we didn't work together too much. I honestly think that this might have been one of the few things we worked together on, because by the time I inherited My Little Pony, he was doing like Stray Dogs and stuff. But we did work together briefly, and when he came here for his tour, I got to meet him, which was really cool.
That was really cool. Yeah, and then you ran into him at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes, I ran into him at San Diego Comic-Con. He was wearing a Memory Lane shirt, and I spotted it across the room. I was like, oh my god! So that was fun.
Cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah, what a sweet guy. I wanted to have him on here.
Yeah.
But it didn't line up, and I'm kind of glad. I feel like we could have pushed it, and I could have made it happen, but I didn't do like enough.
Next time, I'm sure maybe we'll go on another tour.
Yeah, hopefully that'd be sweet. I would like to sit down and kind of poke his brain.
Definitely.
Speaking of San Diego, are there any highlights you want to talk about? I know you had a pretty awesome run-in with George Takei.
Yes. George Takei is promoting his new book, It Rhymes with Takei, with Top Shelf, which is an imprint of IDW. And everybody, the employees got to have their books signed after. So we were waiting in line, and I walked up, and Lee, the editor for It Rhymes with Takei, one of the editors, was like, oh, this is Riley. I think he said she lives in North Carolina or something. And George was like, oh, you don't have a Southern accent. And I was like, yeah, I know. He's like, they have really good Southern accents in Gone with the Wind. And I was like, yeah, I'll have to watch it. I love putting on a fake accent. He's like, yeah, just pretend you're talking to your grandma. And I was like, okay. I don't know. It was really random, really sweet, but such a weird conversation to have with George Takei.
And you have a pretty awesome picture of him.
Yeah, too. I know. We're both smiling at each other. It's so cute.
Yeah. and you have the one with what was the band?
Oh yeah, Guar ran into him. It was so random.
That's so cool.
So funny.
What are those conventions like for someone working in the comic industry?
Yeah, they're really important. Like you said, we work remotely, so we don't get to, and not only us, IDW employees, but all of our artists and freelancers are always going to be remote. So it's really nice to get to see people put a face to the email. I got to meet Caleb Goldner and Stephanie Williams for the first time, who I've worked with a bunch.
Yeah.
But have never, seen face to face. So it was really nice. It's nice to if you ever have to send an angry email, be like, please get the script into me. I've never had to do that with those two, luckily. But sometimes it can get frustrating when it's you're talking to your computer, and putting a face to the name, I think, helps out whether you're having to send those emails or not. But it's just really nice to create those relationships and meet new creators. I met a bunch of new creators, Walk Artist Alley, meet the creators that worked on TMNT, Godzilla, other things that we were having signings for. Whether or not those people are ever going to write Monster High, maybe not. But it's still good to establish those relationships in case I were to take on something like that one day. So it's a really good chance to make connections, but also it's nice to walk the floor and see what people are excited about, who has the biggest booth, what's selling at Dark Horse, what's selling at Image, things like that. So it's a really good way to just kind of reconnect to the industry.
Yeah.
Do
you ever get a chance to talk to representatives of IPs and stuff Mattel and stuff like that at
so actually a Mattel representative stopped by the booth and chatted to us, which was nice because again putting a face to the name. It depends on because some licensing companies don't always send their people, or they're based somewhere else, so it's not easy for them to get there. But yeah, we do have dinners or lunches and stuff with the representatives at those companies, so we can continue our relationship, talk about important things, talk about what's up next, and just kind of get to know each other.
So your run with Sonic, it started on issue 25. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong on it.
I honestly have no idea, and the fact that you came up with that number, I'm like, yeah, that sounds right.
I think so. So I had to figure out where it was. Obviously there's some wiki stuff on it, but I would go on Amazon. And I would look up the volumes, and Amazon lets you look at the first couple pages, and I was where's Riley's name in this? And it was from volume 7 to 18 or something like that.
Okay.
So it's a rough estimate. I think it's around issue 25 when you jumped in, and it ran all the way through about issue 62, which is a very long run. That's it spans years.
Yeah.
what was it like jumping into an already well-established run? Because that's about 2 years worth of comics already that you're taking over, and then you ran it for another like 2+ years. Can you talk about what it was like to take a long-running project over? And
so I started in 2019, and I can't remember if it was 2019 or 2020 when my boss just assigned me to that to assist David Marriott. So I mostly assisted on this book, and I knew nothing about Sonic at the time. I knew he ran fast. Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
You're like the #1 Sonic fan now.
So yeah, no, I knew he ran fast, and I had seen statues and pictures and stuff of him, but I didn't know much. So the first thing I wanted to do was like catch up, and I was lucky that there were only 25 issues at the time, at least of IDW Sonic. And I don't know, it's interesting because I've now, left Sonic, and other editors have taken it over who were in similar positions to me. And I always say that, like, he wormed his way into my heart. Like, I don't work on Sonic anymore, but, like, people still associate me with Sonic. Like, my friends and family still associate me with Sonic. It's so weird. And the same for them. So it's interesting because on that book, I kind of learned how to edit.
Right.
David taught me a lot. But it is different, like, jumping into it because you're not necessarily getting to put your whole stamp on it, if that makes sense. Like, you're not, like, building the line. You're not, deciding where miniseries are going to go. You're not really deciding the tone of the series. So it is, like, a different experience just jumping into an already established line. But it was still really enjoyable because it's Sonic, and I will always love Sonic. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you prefer, or do you think it's easier, or are you more comfortable jumping into an ongoing, or something that's been going on for a little bit, or fully crafting something from the ground up like you are doing with, like, Monster High?
Well, crafting something from the ground up like that is very hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, and if it doesn't do well, then it kind of reflects on you. Whereas if you're jumping into something with, like, an already established, like, really big fan base and plan, 2 or 3 year plan, like Sonic, it's a little bit easier, but I think it's more rewarding to build your own plan and come up with unique ideas on how to put a comic out into the world and how to, I don't know, just, it's more rewarding, I think, although it is more difficult to do that.
Yeah. And what was it like stepping away from Sonic after working on it for so long?
Yeah.
And kind of seeing somebody else take over the role.
It was interesting because I ended up stepping away because I got promoted and had to take on other things, and just didn't have the capacity to assist anymore. I remember feeling like I had done everything I could with Sonic at that time. Like, I had put out things that I was proud of. I had, made changes and stuff that, like, they still, do to this day. I had helped put out new characters and really exciting storylines. And although I still loved it and would have loved to continue working on it, I felt like I was outgrowing it.
Yeah.
At least for the time. It's funny. Sometimes I'll message my colleagues, though, and be like, do you guys want to trade for Sonic? And they're like, no, you can't have it. So I do miss it, but I was definitely ready to step away at the time.
Speaking of, in, like, launching new characters, you have like an original, like an OC
No, I don't. No.
In My Little Pony, at least.
Yeah, I made a tweet one time joking about, cause like Applejack, her cutie mark is obviously going to be apples.
Right.
But they're always like, what are our cutie marks going to be? So I tweeted, like, My Little Pony's so funny because there will be a character named Pickle Barrel, and he'll be like, what's my cutie mark gonna be? And so Natalie Haynes made a little pickle barrel guy for me.
Yeah.
And we started sneaking him into My Little Pony. And I think he's in, like, one Sonic panel, too, as, like, a Sonic OC. It's so silly. He's a mermaid, too, in one of the In Set Your Sail. But no, he's precious, and I love him.
Oh my god, yeah. If you guys can find those issues,
please find Pickle Barrel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a wiki entry.
Is there?
I'm pretty sure. I think when we talked about it,
my son is famous.
I looked it up, and like, it shows up in, I think, the My Little Pony wiki? I can't remember. It's in one of the wikis, though. There's barely any information.
One time, Sonic fans walked up to me. Actually, the guys that run the IDW Sonic news page on Twitter came up to me and were like, hey, we noticed that Pickle Barrel was in Sonic. And I was like, how did you, what? That's crazy. It was really fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys can find them, I'm gonna try to collect all the single issues, any appearances of Pickle Barrel. Just especially the first one. That's so fun. So it's no secret that the comics industry is primarily male dominated, and traditionally has catered mostly to male readers. So as a woman in the comic book industry, what is it like navigating that environment?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm lucky to work with a bunch of cool people at IDW, but it's interesting to be told, by outside people that to read comics when I'm working in comics and I make comics, and I know a ton of women that read comics, and to be told like things need to be like Batman, or things need to be like TMNT or something like that, or like cater towards that demographic, because there's no women that read comics. They don't come into comic book shops.
Yeah, and there's obviously not enough Batman comics.
There's not enough Batman comics. It's obviously a lesser portion of the comics readership, but like they exist, right? And it's also interesting to me that like I hate the idea that we need to cater towards the existing audience. Like, why not try to change it, right? Like, it's not going to be the same forever, so why not spearhead that? But yeah, it's definitely something that I feel weekly, and try to combat as most I can. Like, I work on a lot of girl comics. Obviously, not only girls are reading those, but like that's what I want to read and that's what I want to make. I also noticed that a lot with comics creators. I honestly try to work primarily with women, especially on Monster High. I've tried my best to mostly hire women. Same with My Little Pony. And that's something I'm really proud of and something that I'm going to continue to do. So yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to navigate, but I think that having like people on your side, like I talk to my coworkers about this kind of stuff all the time, or I talk to other comic creators about it all the time, and that really helps. So difficult, but definitely possible to navigate.
Yeah. Have you seen a shift at all in your time working at IDW, whether it's like in your coworkers or the audience itself?
I don't know. It's hard. I feel like I make the comics and, I see the numbers, but I don't necessarily interact with the audience a ton. So it's really hard to know, like, what the demographics are. Yeah. We get a good variety of, like, a wide variety of people at the shop, picking up. Yeah, I feel like, though, like, I feel like Memory Lane's so unique and not the average comic shop experience, so I can't base it on, like, what you guys experience, just because you guys are, like, so welcoming. It's insane, and I think you could turn anybody off the street into a comic reader, and that's definitely not the case with a lot of comic shops, unfortunately. So it's hard to, even, like, coming in here and experiencing that, it's hard to know that that's accurate.
Yeah, and I think when we've talked about this, you mentioned that there's a lot of talk of like the Wednesday Warriors is what they call them, the people that come in every Wednesday to get the new comics. I do feel like, just from my perspective, that day is primarily very like male dominated. On the weekends it's a lot more just all over the place, families, people of all ages, genders, but Wednesdays are a lot of the I think that like that the audience that publishers, I assume, would probably...
Yeah, and it's hard because, like, the floppies keep the industry alive, right? And we don't want those to go away, but I don't know. I'm curious to see, like, how the industry is going to evolve and change, whether that's doing less floppies or doing way more floppies, like with Pingo and Random House distributing things now. Like, who knows where we could put those comics. I don't know. I mean, I would love... I want to keep the backbone of the industry, but I would love to see it branch out more and be more welcoming and put out crazy things.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the problem with just more stuff to read? Like, give me a variety.
I just want to read romance comics.
I've read so much Batman. I'm good. No, I love Batman. I love absolute Batman. Okay. One last question, and then we'll get into like a little rapid fire.
Okay.
So let's pretend that you have unlimited resources. Okay. Can you craft like your perfect project? You can get as specific as you want, like pencilers, inkers. You don't have to, obviously, letterers, colorists, writers. Is it a one shot? Is it a mini? Is it an ongoing? But if you had like, you know, unlimited access to something, what would you want to make?
I actually feel like my dream, if I could make anything, okay, I'm going to say two things. Okay. One, and they could go hand in hand. One is a line of romance comics. I don't think that they would quite work as floppies, but we could try it, right? Authored by like famous romance book authors. So like an Emily Henry, an Allie Hazelwood. Like I would eat that up. I would buy every single copy, every single cover. And I know that there are people who would too.
Yeah.
And I just think like with the right art, it could just be like absolutely gorgeous. I would eat it up. And I think is an untapped market in the... Absolutely. Because it's so big in publishing. Yeah. And comics is like, what's romance? Mary Jane and Spider-Man?
Right.
So I'd love to do that. And then I would love to do like this, I love classics, retold classics. And I think that that's something that's been done over and over and over again, but I really love it. And so I would love to do like a Shakespeare universe, like whether it's like, Hamlet told at a boarding school and A Midsummer Night's Dream told in like, New York, but it's like retro futuristic. I don't know, just something that's just like totally taking different genres and throwing Shakespeare in it, or other classics. I think would just be really fun. I don't know that they would perform well or anything, but I feel like I would have so much fun making them that I want it and I want to read those. So,
whenever they hit the shelves, we can come back to this video, this episode, and be like, well.
They'll play this clip of the Eisners.
Absolutely, they'll play it at the Eisners. Cool. Let's get into a little rapid fire.
Okay.
Rapid fire round.
I'm nervous.
Okay, so what is your favorite Sonic character?
Ooh. I really like Metal Sonic. There's this story in the 2020 annual where Metal Sonic is having to deal with everybody's turning metal because of the metal virus, and he's like, well, if Sonic's turning metal, what is the purpose of me? And it's this beautiful story told with no dialogue, written by Caleb Goldner, illustrated by Aaron Hammerstrom, and it's just beautiful, and I've loved him ever since, and he's my favorite. I also really like Tails because he's really cute.
Tails is super cute. Favorite Transformer?
Ooh, probably Starscream, and because he's Starscream, and he's a big character in Shattered Glass, and so I fell in love with like the good version of him.
Yeah.
And then I love Shockwave because he's evil.
He's so cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Shockwave's awesome. Starscream is surprisingly like everybody's favorite Transformer.
Yeah, he has so much depth to him.
Yeah.
People love evil people.
Yeah, he's just so slimy. I don't know. Favorite pony?
I love
Pickle Barrel.
I love Pickle Barrel,
sure.
but I love Pinkie Pie.
Okay.
She's so obnoxious. She's so happy. I love her.
In 20 words or less, why is Kylo Ren your number one character of all time?
He's so misunderstood, and he just needed someone to love him, and then someone did love him, and then he sacrificed himself for the whole universe.
I know it's like 30 words, but
well,
it's okay.
He deserves it.
Yeah. Awesome. What one IP do you wish you could work on?
Ooh.
We talked about this briefly.
I feel like I'm asked this question all the time. I don't know.
You mentioned one the other day where I was like, that would be so sick. That would be so fun.
I do think that, like, so I try to think of, because this industry is so driven by, like, nostalgia, so a lot of times when we get licenses, it's like somebody being like, oh, I played with these toys as a kid. Like, what about these? I love The Sims. I think it's awesome. I play it all the time, have thousands of hours in the game, so I think that would be fun if we could figure out a way to do that. And again, I'd love to adapt some romance books.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to hear you say this one. What's your favorite restaurant?
What? Do you have an answer in mind?
I think so.
I think it's Zocalo.
Oh, wow. I was going to say Margaritaville.
Oh, my God. It's Margaritaville.
That's
a different... That's not a restaurant. That's an experience.
That's a lot, yeah.
Totally different.
Favorite movie?
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'm going to give 4 or 5. Okay.
Okay.
That's what everybody does right now. Top 4.
Absolutely.
Okay, Pride and Prejudice, 2005.
Of course.
Trolls, Hereditary, and Tangled.
Heck yeah. Favorite song?
I Think Your Nose is Bleeding by the Front Bottoms.
Dope. Favorite book?
Frankenstein / I know it doesn't count as a book, but I'm going to count it as a book. Much Ado About Nothing by Shakespeare. You know him?
I've never heard of him.
Oh.
No.
Billy. He's my best friend.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's about.
You were gonna ask me my favorite comic?
Oh, I'm not gonna ask you. You don't read comics. Okay, what's your favorite comic?
American Born Chinese by Gene Luen Yang. I think he's brilliant.
And he's about to take over.
He is about to take over Turtles. I
be...
didn't get to meet him at San Diego Comic-Con. I was so sad. He was literally at the booth.
That book? Did you read that book? Wait, we did it for our book club, right?
I recommended it, yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have a bunch of copies, so if you want to check that out, please pick it up.
Really good book.
But yeah, before the Turtles, his Turtles run starts too. Get a feel for his writing style. It's really good. And I think, did you also do Superman Smashes the Klan?
Yes.
Yeah, which, iconic. Amazing. Cool. This was really fun. I'm so glad to finally be able to do this. If you guys have any questions also for anybody, feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can email them to me at jose@mlcshop.com. You can DM us on Instagram, Facebook. We have a Discord now, too. I don't know how that works. But I'm sure, just, I don't know, give us a call. Reese will tell you all about it. I have no idea how it works. We're going to be trying to do this a little more regularly. These video ones are going to be a bit of a treat whenever we have someone cool to sit down with and talk to that works in art or just in comics in general. But hopefully we're going to be doing a more regularly audio-only version of the show where me, Jake, Ben, Tyler, whoever will just sit down and talk about current events on, in the comic book world, whether it's like movie releases. So hopefully we'll do one about like Superman and Fantastic Four with some hot takes. But yeah, stay tuned. And please send us your questions about anything and everything. I think we're gonna be doing one monthly show where we're just talking about like the retail side of comics, and then another one where it's more like the community and the closure and stuff. But Riley, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. Hopefully we can bring you back whenever Sleepy Hollow releases.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Anything else that you might...
Yeah, I'll tell you all the secrets.
When is that release date for Sleepy Hollow?
It's in October. I believe it's the last week of October. I don't know for sure. Again, I just make the comics and somebody else puts them out sometimes, and sometimes I forget, but 10/29, 25.
Go ahead and hit us up. Get your copy set aside, because it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so sweet. This whole like IDW Dark is going to be great. Cool. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. See y'all soon.